Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Aodheen Dougan, and I am the Business Development Manager at Manufacturing NI and the Smart Manufacturing Data Hub. I'd like to welcome you all to this webinar where we will explore how data-driven technologies and the Smart Manufacturing Data Hub programme can support your business to innovate, optimise and accelerate in today's digital era. So just to give you some background on the programme before we start, the Smart Manufacturing Data Hub, or SMDH for short, is an Innovate UK funded programme led by Ulster University with technology partners and expertise from around the UK. And the programme supports manufacturing companies to unlock value from their factory data with access to IoT technologies, a data visualisation platform, one-to-one data analytics support, dashboards, insights and recommendations. There's also a virtual manufacturing platform for companies to explore and de-risk new technologies such as robotics and 3D printing. There's a free-to-use training academy, and there's also a community platform which is free to use for individuals to go on and connect and share their experiences and challenges, I suppose, of smart manufacturing and data technologies. So, and last but not least, of course, there's the Digital Innovation Fund. So this is a pot of 6 million from the UK government that has been allocated to the programme to help manufacturers accelerate the use of Industry 4.0 technologies so that companies both in Northern Ireland and across the UK can take the necessary steps towards digitalisation and automation in order to remain competitive. So this fund is available in grant form for companies to undertake IoT projects. You can either apply directly to SMDH by downloading the forms online, or you can choose to work with a solution provider who has been awarded a grant already to deliver these solutions directly to companies like yourself. And you will see some examples of these projects and case studies from our presenters here today. So just quickly, an introduction to myself then. So my role, I work for Manufacturing NI, who is a partner on the SMDH programme. And between Stephen, our CEO, and Mary, our Deputy CEO, and the rest of the Manufacturing NI team, we are very pleased to support the SMDH programme and, I suppose, collaborative efforts to make Industry 4 technologies more accessible. So in terms of the agenda today, we have Stephen Kelly, Chief Executive of Manufacturing NI, who's going to introduce today's webinar titled The Smart Manufacturing Powered by Data. And this will be followed by 4 short presentations from technology solution providers who will give you an update on the solutions that are currently available through the project and that are funded for companies to access solutions. So just some housekeeping notes then. We are recording the webinar today for anyone who is unable to attend. The recording will be available on Manufacturing NI's YouTube channel following this event, and we will finish up before 1 o'clock. There will also be a Q&A session, so please feel free to pop any questions into the chat and as we go along, and we can pick up on these at the end of the Q&A session. So without further ado, I'm going to pass you over now to Stephen Kelly, Chief Executive of Manufacturing Northern Ireland, who is going to give us an introduction to today's webinar.
Thanks, Aodheen, and if you could maybe just share those couple of slides, I'd greatly appreciate it. Good afternoon, everyone. Good to see you along here today. I just wanted to give a bit of background into not just our manufacturing sector itself in Northern Ireland and its role and importance, but basically set a challenge to all the manufacturers online and watching later on that the way that we've traditionally done work and the way that we've traditionally exacted our businesses needs to fundamentally change, given some pressures that are coming on in terms of the wider environment. There is a radical realignment actually required about what we do and how we do it. And I just wanted to set the scene a little bit as we go through this seminar. Next slide, please, Aodheen. So this is our manufacturing community in Northern Ireland, or sorry, our economy in Northern Ireland, and that large quarter, that purple quarter, is our productive industries, which you can see by the lighter shade of purple is absolutely dominated by our manufacturing sector. It's a big, large, in fact, the second largest contributor to the value of the Northern Ireland economy after our distributive industries, which is largely our retail sector. So these are really important businesses that are bringing lots of money into Northern Ireland and driving economies right across the region. Next slide, please. And we're good at it. So you can see by this slide, the UK is at the bottom. That red line is the trend in terms of UK manufacturing. It's been consistently lower in terms of the contribution that it makes to the UK's economy than the above line, the yellow line, which is the Northern Ireland manufacturing contribution, which you can see has always been significantly higher. But you can begin to see that those two lines are separating. The UK is in moderate decline. Northern Ireland is powering on. So our manufacturing community, far from being that kind of sunset part of our industry, or sunset part of our economy, is actually driving bigger growth, bigger demand, bigger wages, bigger contribution in terms of the Northern Ireland economy than it does in terms of the rest of the UK. Next slide, please. And it's about jobs. Despite some notable losses over the last decade or so, what we see is that our manufacturing community is continuing to add significantly to jobs. We're approaching 100,000 people now directly employed, a place that we haven't seen for many decades. And what we're witnessing here is a manufacturing renaissance in Northern Ireland, driven by a number of really key sectors, whether that be food, engineering, but even now more innovative firms in and around electronics, science-based industries, and jobs that have been created right across Northern Ireland. Next slide, please. So where we've ended up as of today is we're the third largest sector of employment after retail and after our health services. And what we have is just short of 100,000 direct jobs, but it's not just those direct jobs. Those jobs and those businesses also support another 170,000 jobs elsewhere in the economy. So think about the supply chain, think about logistics, think about the money that has been paid in wages and what that does in terms of supporting local shops and hospitality businesses and construction firms, etc., etc., etc. So what we have now is that, unlike other parts of these islands, 1 in 4 families across Northern Ireland are completely and wholly dependent upon a manufacturing wage. Next slide, please. But it's not just about wages, it's about where these jobs are. Our economy minister is keen that we deliver good jobs that are reasonably dispersed. Our manufacturers are in Belfast, they are in Derry, Newry, Armagh, but more particularly, they're in our rural community, they're in every town and townland right across Northern Ireland. So these are well-paid, sustainable jobs in places where people want to live, to work, and to set up home and contribute to their local community, either financially or getting involved in groups and societies, sending their children to the same primary schools that they went to, shop in the same local shop, or drink in their local bar. These are jobs where people want to live and want to contribute to their community. Next slide, please. And we bring in lots of money. So there's in the region of about 17 billion pounds of both export and external sales. Export sales are those outside of the UK. External sales are the sales to the rest of the United Kingdom, largely England, Scotland, and Wales. And if you think about the Northern Ireland economy, or the Northern Ireland public purse, there's about 11 billion pounds per year comes in from the UK Treasury to run public services here. That subvention is what enables us to have a health service, our schools and education, our infrastructural projects. But our manufacturers bring in much more than that in terms of external income. So if you think about this as a family, we're adding a significant additional wage into Northern Ireland households in order to run not just public services, but to run other parts of our economy as well. But it's not just the fact that we bring in a lot of that money. At just short of 4 billion pounds, we're a net exporter. So when you exclude the cost of supply chains and wages, we're actually bringing in essentially a profit of about £4 billion into the Northern Ireland economy as a whole. Next slide, please. And work that we'd had done by Oxford Economics showed that economies where manufacturing grows, their entire economy grows with it. If you think about the kind of policy choices that are made by some of the strongest economies in the world, whether that be China, Germany, and even more recently, the United States, who want to bring their manufacturing jobs back, they've recognized that these are jobs that are sustainable and the entire economy grows with it. Yes, we are moving into a more electronic world, a world that may be more virtual, but actually we still need physical things. In fact, everyone on this call today is here because somebody somewhere has actually made something with their hands. And that importance of physical manufacturing continues to be a big driver for our stronger economies, and our economy will be stronger when manufacturing grows as well. Next slide, please. So thinking specifically about this project, the Smart Manufacturing Data Hub, essentially it's just about measuring things. And when you look at the dictionary and you look up the word measure, it is a verb. And it has two definitions. One is just to basically assess the size or the amount or the degree by which something is, so the volume or the length or the size. And it's usually done by using some sort of instrument or device that's marked in those kind of standard units, centimeters, millimeters, liters, etc., etc., etc. But the other definition of measure is it's actually to assess the importance or the effect or the value of what you're actually measuring. So it's not just about the physical size or space or length, but it's also about the importance, the impact and the effect and the value that you can derive from what you're actually measuring. Next slide, please. So bear in mind that measuring piece as we kind of continue through these slides, but there are real fundamental problems in the Northern Ireland economy. And the first one begins with the availability of people, the availability of labour. In effect, in the last number of decades, on average, about 80,000 people net new have come in to our working age population in Northern Ireland. Our manufacturing growth and indeed other growth elsewhere in the economy has been driven by the availability of people coming of working age and continuing to or wanting to make an economic contribution through businesses and others. But as you can see from that chart on my left-hand side, whilst we had in the region of about 105,000 net new people into our economy in the years 2000 to 2010, that suddenly dropped off a cliff to just about 10,000 people in our last decade, which is 2010 to 2020. But more importantly, that little slim light blue check that you see on the chart shows that in this decade ahead, we effectively have less than 2,000 net new people coming into our economy. That's on average about 200 more people per year that are available age 16 to 64 for our manufacturing businesses and others. And indeed, the forecast going right out into the future is that may actually begin to decline slightly. Next slide, please. So what we're saying to businesses is, assume from this day forward, you will never be able to recruit anyone ever again. So if you assume you're not going to be able to recruit anyone, either to add job or headcount to your businesses, or replace those people who are aging out and retiring or moving on to other roles, you've got to do everything that you can in order to continue to grow. And the method of which you continue to grow is by driving productivity and driving efficiency. And the means to do that is about improving those jobs. So if we can't recruit anyone ever again, we need to do what we can to make those better jobs, more productive jobs, removing tasks and functions, having a better understanding about roles and functions and how that interacts with the business. But in addition to that, it's also about adding in digitization, automation, robotics, etc., etc., etc. So if you can't recruit anyone, you've got to ensure that you understand what's making your business drive and ensure that that you're as efficient as you possibly can. And we do this all the time in our businesses already. We measure huge amounts of things within our business. You think about measuring cash or stock or orders, but also even down to every single person in the business will measure the hours that they've actually worked, will measure the mileage that they've taken, etc., etc., etc. So the kind of function of measuring stuff within a business is incredibly common and has been with us since business actually began. But there's a whole new world of things that we should be measuring in order to ensure that our jobs are as efficient as possible and we're driving productivity. Next slide. So we need to look at those things that actually have a direct effect on production or on performance, apologies. So what are we doing in terms of our production, our people, and indeed our profitability? What are we doing to capture that information? What are we doing to capture that data? But more importantly, what are we doing to actually understand what that data means and take action on it? There are, when we measure and we begin to understand the numbers that are available to us within our businesses, means to improve productivity, improve profitability, and improve the performance of each of our businesses. Next slide, please. So we know we have great businesses. We know we have great people making great products that are providing solutions right across the globe. But just that one issue of the availability of labor alone tells us that we need to change radically how we go about doing what we do. The means that we do that is by measuring the information that's available to us, taking time to understand what that means, but more importantly, taking action to ensure that our businesses are more productive. Next slide. Thank you very much. You're on mute, Aodheen.
Sorry. Thank you, Stephen. That was really, I suppose, powerful summary of where we are in Northern Ireland at the minute and how important the sector is to the community or to the economy, and how important it is, I suppose, the heightened need for manufacturers now to start to look at how they can use their people, their resources, and their productivity, and really be more efficient in terms of looking at data and technologies. Okay, so we're going to keep moving because we have quite a lot to cover. We're going to move on to the technology provider solutions now. So I'm going to introduce Paddy from Flowlens. So Paddy is, or should I say Flowlens is a Belfast-based software company that helps SME manufacturers to build, sell, and service their products more efficiently by automating manual processes. So Flowlens has applied for a Lighthouse funding through SNDH, and now they are working with companies to deliver projects to companies. So I'll pass it over to you, Paddy.
Thanks, Aodheen, and thanks, Stephen. Good presentation, interesting presentation nonetheless, and I appreciate having me on board here to present today, and everyone taking the time to be here. I'm not going to take too much of your time, really. I just want to give you an overview of who Flowlens is and what we do. So my name is Paddy Hearty. I'm the commercial director with Flowlens. Aodheen's right in what she says. We are a Belfast-based software provider, but the software we provide is an integrated MRP and CRM offering for small to medium-sized, well, I'll rephrase that, small equipment and device manufacturers. So the small, emphasis on the S, anywhere up to 30 to 40 employees would be right in our wheelhouse for being a good fit. We built Flowlens and launched it to the market over 10 years ago now at this stage, with the whole idea being to make it easy to use, bring everything in under the one roof, essentially, so all of the employees get access to everything from one place, removing that traditional siloed approach or a multitude of different software that maybe were being used but not have visibility across the board. So, you know, Flowlens keeps everything in the one location. You can manage all of your customers, manage your suppliers, managing your build process, your work in progress, your stock, your inventory, and any post-sale service work that you may do, you know. So basically, we're based in Belfast, but the vast majority of our customer base is across the UK and Ireland. We have some in Australia and the US, and we're grateful to have them all, and thankfully they rate us very highly. thankfully, which is great. So as I mentioned earlier, the whole idea behind Flowlens was an easy-to-use cloud-based offering that will bring everything in one location. So indeed, you can manage from the front end, manage all of your customers, manage your suppliers, manage your sales leads, your inquiries, your forecasts, etc. Any sales quotes that you're providing are all managed within Flowlens as well, and any orders that are generated. You can build to stock or build to order within Flowlens. And indeed, if you're buying components in, then you can manage all that process effectively as well by raising your purchase orders within the system also. Essentially, Flowlens becomes the master for everything, and through ease of integration to QuickBooks and Xero, all of the invoices are raised in Flowlens and pushed out to those two. Managing all of your stock and your build process, etc. as well, dispatching them from within the system and invoicing for them and getting paid, more importantly. If you're doing any post-sales service work, then that will enable the product to be serviced either in the field or coming back into the premises for service. So again, the key to Flowlens as well is not just easy to use, but the data it produces. And Stephen touched on it there. The importance of data is key here. The data can be brought out into report format in either Excel, CSV, PDF, or indeed as a live data feed into a third party system. A few slides now just on some customers that are using the system and why they essentially bought it. Well, they bought it for the ease of use and manufacturing processes and removing a need for laborious paper-based processes. But in effect, each of these examples have found that the efficiencies that they've brought have been in very different areas. For example, Flint Subsea, they manage or manufacture emergency disconnects. Actually, they found the biggest efficiency was in culling underperforming suppliers, which were affecting their performance, their deliveries, and cash flow. So by culling their underperforming suppliers, they improved lead times by over 70%. Denatech, a specialist engineering firm, their issue was surplus stock. They were spending too much, bringing too much in, no idea how much was in stock. So initially, their initial saving was £5,000 by using up the surplus stock that they had on the premises and reduced the POs by over 50%. DD Scientific, who manufacture sensors, gas sensors, they were printing out job cards every morning and handing them out, bringing them to the staff, on the shop floor. So with Flowlens, they're able to save that hour every morning and prioritize work that needed to be done, which is more important, and also that the saving they were making on the consumables annually as well is significant. And also they were able to monitor their own deliveries, which were up to 10% late per week. So they managed to reduce that by 50%. So the data is key, and clean, consistent, reliable data will create opportunities, and that's why we're delighted to be a part of this SMDH Lighthouse project, and providing you with a software that will enable you to benchmark your performance against peers of a similar size. And how will we do that? Well, by coming on board with us, we will heavily subsidize the Flowlens service, and that's not just on the software side, but also on the implementation and training side and the integration to the Xero or QuickBooks. So it's subsidizing that significantly, and enable you to get actionable business insights and also give you the tools to accelerate your digital transformation. Are you suitable? Well, if you're manufacturing anything like equipment or devices and you have a team of upwards of 30 or 40 people, you're working in a manual environment, or maybe you're using a multitude of different software systems, then by all means, we'd love to hear from you. You can get in touch by just simply emailing smdh@flowlens.com, and that will come to me and my colleague Rich. And that's me.
Thank you, Paddy. That was brilliant. Great to see a solution, I suppose, that integrates with other sort of softwares and technologies that companies might have on board. So you're really looking to eliminate some of that paper processes. You're not duplicating work, and you're sort of moving towards automation more and speeding things up for companies.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll keep going because we have a few to get through, but if you have any questions for Paddy, pop them into the chat and we will try to get through them all, and we'll do a Q&A session. So next up, I'm going to introduce Mike, please, from Mike Wright from Output Industries. So Mike is going to tell us about the offer they have available for manufacturers to implement their bus route real-time monitoring platform. Over to you, Mike.
Thanks, Aodheen. I'll just screen share. Assuming everyone can see my screen. Okay, yeah. So I'm one of the co-founders here at Output Industries, and we believe that with access to real-time production data, manufacturing organizations can become more efficient, more productive, and more profitable. So really encouraging at the start of this call to hear Stephen talking about, you know, how we want to drive this new behavior and start to become these things, particularly in Northern Ireland, but across the UK. So in answer to this challenge, what we've done is we've created Busroute, which is, we believe, the complete performance monitoring and production tracking service for manufacturers. What we look to do with Busroute is we're always looking to provide a single vision of your manufacturing operations. So we can monitor machine-led manufacturing, human-led manufacturing, a combination of the two. And what we do inside our platform is we visualize that data inside common manufacturing KPIs, whether that be OEE, downtime Pareto charts, energy monitoring, performance monitoring, or line speed. And it's accessible anywhere. So it's a cloud-hosted solution. It's accessible on your mobile, on your tablet, on your laptop. You simply log in with your email address, and that data is instantly available to you and is always in real time. So out of the box, with Busroute, we provide real-time production monitoring, work order progress and forecasting. So we'll forward forecast today, right now, based on the performance that we've seen from a manufacturing operation, where you're likely to be at the end of your shift based on known cycle times and observation of what's happened already today. So we really want to try and allow you to take action before problems are arising, or not responding to problems the next day or when it's too late. We'll also visualize all of the downtime that's been captured inside your operation. We've got the OEE calculation, in-depth cycle time analysis, so not just reporting on the default cycle time that's given, but also observing across a rolling 10-day window what is the best cycle time and what is your average cycle time. So ensuring that we are actually getting that performance that we believe is necessary to hit the targets that we have. We do have a very simple scheduling module inside our platform. So some of our customers will schedule inside Excel. Some people will have an ERP or a different platform. We can also ingest that data directly. But what I'll do now is I'll just take you through some of the visualizations and then end with the offer that we have as a lighthouse project as part of SMDH. So this screen is really showing live progress. The dotted line would indicate real time. This is a screenshot, so I'm aware it's not just after 2 o'clock, but we're really trying to give at a glance what is happening, if you're ahead, if you're behind. So it's about driving action and ensuring that as much of what we're doing is hitting the targets that we expect. As part of our Lighthouse projects, all of the hardware is included. So we do provide a tablet, and this will often sit at the machine or on the assembly bench, depending on the operation. And it allows operators to really provide the reasons or the causes to what's happening and why downtime's experienced. So we know from our customers, it can sometimes be paper-based, it can sometimes be forgotten, it can sometimes just not be a thing at all. So, but this is an immediate way of capturing what is happening and the reasons why as it's happening. Asset visualization is a big part of our product, and what we really want to do is understand when is the machine, and this is very much machine focused, doing what we want it to be doing. So the green is good, red is not so good. But this is when actually the CNC is actually working, or the plasma cutter is actually cutting the metal sheet. And from this data, we can start to understand what is costing the manufacturing business, what are the biggest reasons for not achieving the asset utilization that is desired and needed. Energy monitoring is also part of our product, so we will correlate and show your latent and energy across the day, across your shift, and we can also correlate that back to the units of production that you are creating. So as the different levels of scope 1, 2, and 3 become more and more prevalent inside your organization, we've got this data ready and available, whether that to be provided as part of your own reporting, or perhaps you're part of a supply chain where an OEM is starting to apply pressure that they need energy data or energy understanding because you're part of their supply chain, but all that data is available and accessible in Busroop. And it's worth saying that all of our data is fully available, either via the platform itself, downloadable via CSV, it can be accessed via our APIs, and we do have a low-code solution where you can set up custom alerts, so data can be emailed to you perhaps at 6 a.m. every day, so you can start to do more analysis. And for some of our customers, we automatically or directly connect with things like Power BI, should that be a tool that you're already using. The operator app, again, is the tablet that we provide, and this is like the last mile or the last area that we try and capture data. We know there are going to be some human-led manufacturing inside some organizations, and we give a very simple and intuitive interface to provide feedback to our platform of what's happening. And it's also a great way of us providing instructions to operators. So removing paper from shop floor is a real bonus for having the tablet all there and accessed via Wi-Fi. We have a couple of ways of getting data directly from your manufacturing organization. Our go-to solution is is the Arduino Opta. It's an open source piece of hardware. We've written some firmware that's installed on the DIN rail, and we look to work with you guys to understand what is a sensible, what is a robust and clear either production signal, energy signal, or utilization signal that will power our platform. And we start with kind of utilization or production, and then with these Arduino devices, we can start to add more data and more sensor data into the platform to enrich the data. If you've got a modern PLC, a modern piece of machinery, we can take data directly from the PLC as well. So we've got the Arduino, which is you're seeing here. We can directly connect to PLCs should the PLC be modern. We've also got the operator tablet that is part of our offering. So before I just come on and remind everyone about the Lighthouse projects, here's a recent case study from a food manufacturing organization in North London. So they've really gone from 0 to 1 in terms of their digital transformation journey. Previously had no understanding of what was happening in the day and no understanding of why they were missing production targets, and they were always looking retrospectively or at the very best at the end of the day. So with the visualization of the line performance, they were able to achieve a 14% increase in production output, and also they've seen a significant reduction month on month with their packaging costs. So they've been able to reduce the amount of plastic that they are buying in, which is, again, a great story for us, but also a positive environmental story. So our Lighthouse projects, we have the ability to provide our software Busroop for a manufacturing organization, and we'll connect 5 of your stations inside 2024 for free, 0 cost to the manufacturer. All of the hardware, all the installation, all of the support, all of the training will be provided to you by the Output Industries team. And we're working with people in Northern Ireland already. So I think from looking at names, we've got a conversation coming up this week with the Uform team. I think you're on the call, working with Newprint, Terex, CDE Group, and a whole host of other manufacturing organizations across the UK. But yeah, the QR code will take you to our landing page where we'll look to take name, email, and address, and look to jump on a call and understand how we can help.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Mike, for going through the bus route offer. It's really, I suppose, it's a nice, simple one. It's easy for companies to get involved and sign up. I really like the fact that companies can access the technology on mobile or laptop, you know, from anywhere, and see where they're at in real time in production and sort of make decisions instantly from that. So you're not waiting to go in the next day and find out that you're behind schedule. It's really more real-time, data-driven decision making.
Yeah.
So that's brilliant. Okay, so our third solution then, our project offer, we're going to hear from Mark Meenan, who is with FSL Electronics in Cookstown. FSL design and manufacture wireless remote control industrial displays and custom electronic solutions. And he's going to give us a bit of information about the multi-sense solution that they have developed, and I suppose the offer that is available for companies to come on board and to do a project with FSL. So over to yourself, Mark.
Thank you, Aodheen. Just start here by quickly sharing my screen if I can. Can everyone see the screen okay?
Not yet.
Sorry, just bear with me 1 second. Not sure why my screen's not sharing here. Nothing up yet, no?
Not yet. Are you doing the wee share arrow up beside the leave?
Yeah.
And then have you hit on a screen that you're sharing?
Typical technology let me down. Aodheen, maybe do you want to try and bring up the one that I sent you just this morning? Maybe easier.
Yeah,
I
can do. I'll have a wee look here. Let me just check 1 second.
Can't understand why this isn't sharing.
Would it speed it up if we moved on to Martin? Is that okay, Martin? Are you ready?
If you want to shift on, Aodheen, yeah.
We'll come back to FSL then. So
bring your
Martin,
I am ready, Aodheen.
Brilliant. So sort of similar type solution. It's a open monitor energy system Martin's going to tell us about, and he's based with DevTank. And again, similar sort of offer where companies can come on board, try out the technology, do a project with DevTank, and then I'll not spoil it all for Martin. I'll let you say some of it, but it's up to them really if they want to continue on with the technology. But it just de-risks the investment, I suppose, for them to try it out in the first instance. So if you want to share your screen, Martin, please.
Can you see that?
Yep, brilliant. Thank you.
I'll put it on to share mode. So thank you everybody. I'm Martin Rigley, Business Development Manager at DevTank, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about our open smart technology. And we always say, it starts with a sensor. Encourage people who've got an interest to think about recording. Start with one thing and then see where you go from there. See what it tells you. Our open smart monitoring system is then also backed up by our sustainable business intelligence platform, when we visualize your data. I think we've probably started looking at slightly different things to some of the previous speakers. So our sustainable business intelligence platform is our bespoke plug and play platform. You can see an example of it there. It's pre-configured open smart monitoring sensors. So we would send you, if you're interested, once we've done a scoping exercise, which we can do remotely, we would then pre-configure the dashboard, send you the OSM units, and there's an example of an OSU, or some OSM units, bottom right hand of that picture. So to give you an idea of scale, it's in a ruggedized case. In terms of physical size, it's about the same footprint as a mobile phone, but about 4 times deeper. Got an antenna on the side, needs a 5-volt USB supply to power it. So once we spec'd it up, we would then ship the units to you with inside the box would be a QR code that would take you to your data dashboard, and from that data dashboard you can see the parameters that you are measuring. It's also got the ability to set trigger levels. So if you say you were monitoring power usage and you started to use more power than you anticipated, or water or gas, or an issue with your environment, then it would send you a text message or SMS, or the relevant person a text message or SMS to alert them that something's not right, to come and have a look at it. We like to think it's a ready to go out of the box solution. Relatively easy to install. If you couldn't install a unit in 45 minutes, then I think you're doing something wrong. So the benefits of our technology: collecting data on your energy uses and your environment. So I think we're probably subtly different there. We're looking at energy, or looking at resources, so electricity, water, gas, but we're also looking at the environmental conditions within your manufacturing environment, and how that impacts, not just from an health and safety point of view, but also from a production point of view. So once you capture that data, we can help you to improve your process control, compliance for well-being compliance for your working environment. I always say to people, we're not providing a silver bullet to that will reduce your cost, but we're providing with a microscope. We can start to look in more depth and where you can make changes in your organisation. So as I'm slightly in a unique situation, that I was an end user of this technology. My old business was a guinea pig of this technology. So I've lived and breathed it, and I can see the benefits it can bring to businesses, which is why I've been brought in as business development manager. Again, we can look at things like OEE, production quality control, and how this technology and use of data plays into your road to net zero and sustainability. Again, just another, probably slightly better photograph of the unit. So each unit has the ability to monitor your humidity, gas usage, electricity usage, water, air temperature, humidity within your working environment, air quality. So by air quality now, we have the ability to monitor particulates in your atmosphere at 1, 2.5 and 10 microns, as well as volatile organic compound indices and nitrous oxide indices within your working space. So again, it's helping you to maintain or give a proof line that around your air quality. We also monitor sound levels and light levels, and there's a lot of research around how the impact of the working environment, particularly in terms of humidity, temperature, sound, light levels and air quality, impacts on productivity. Majority of cases, we use Wi-Fi as our transmission protocol. Obviously, we read out into our SBR platforms, a cloud-based piece of software, and we read out using Wi-Fi. We have instances where we've got transmit data over longer distances, or it's a difficult environment for Wi-Fi to work. We can also use LoRaWAN, and we have used LoRaWAN. Our whole basis is around using open source technologies, so we're not particularly wedded to anybody's sensor or any technology. Ours is open source. So if you wanted to host it yourself, you could do, and we're really sensor agnostic. So if you want to measure something, and there's a sensor available, because we've got a Modbus port on the side of the unit, we can read that unit in. So any parameter you wanted to measure, as long as there's a sensor available, we can work with that. Little bit about our Lighthouse project. So we are recipients of the Lighthouse Award, and our Lighthouse Award is to fund building and deployment of 500 sensor units. A manufacturing business or an SME can access up to 5 units per business, and it then provides an holistic data collected to improve business optimization of assets, energy reduction, benchmarking, and the drive towards net zero. And then obviously, like everybody else, our data is shared anonymously with the SMDH team via the MDEP platform. So if you do the maths, we've got to roll this out to between 50 and 100 businesses. We are starting to get lots of interest, and we're starting to deploy units already. And we say to business, we'll help them to focus on reducing the carbon footprint, reducing waste, and overall better use of their energy. and we're hopefully going to educate businesses which say start with one sensor, so start measuring one thing. And I think most businesses we've worked with in the past, once they start to understand the power of data, they can realise what it can do for the business. So on a previous project we were with a company who had 3 units, they're now looking at adding another 70 units in to monitor their whole process. And there's my contact details. So I'll leave the questions probably to the end of the.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Martin. That was brilliant. Great to see, I suppose, the range of different ways that companies can make energy and resource efficiencies, whether that's for compliance or whether it's operational or economic savings, or part of their net zero strategy, I suppose, looking at sustainability and the future of the organisation. So that's okay. We'll pass it over then to our final project offer with Mark Meenan. Mark, are you happy for me to share the slides?
We'll try again, Aodheen. Let me see here.
That's grand. Perfect. Up and going now.
That us?
Yep, that's it.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, so thanks, Aodheen. I'm Mark Meenan, the sales director here at FSL Electronics. So as Aodheen gave a bit of a background there, we're an electronics design and manufacturing company based here in Cookstown in County Tyrone. Our core business is in wireless remote controls and custom electronic solutions for a variety of industries throughout UK and Ireland. We also export our products via various distributors worldwide as well. Now, with the custom electronics kind of side of the business, we're obviously always interested in getting involved in new projects and products. So we're very excited with this one and see it as a really good fit here in partnership with SMDH. So just to give you a run through on what our offering actually is. So our particular project is an IoT solution designed for manufacturing companies to enable them to monitor various kinds of machinery and equipment, providing them with data which can be used to make their operations run more efficiently. So along with many benefits that would bring, it'll also help businesses achieve in their goals for sustainability, net zero and efficiency in manufacturing. So FSL helped develop a solution called MultiSense. It's a multi-sensor device capable of measuring environmental, production and energy data in one small, simple to fit module. So process critical data is recorded from the equipment via the MultiSense sensor. That data can then be live streamed to a secure visual dashboard that the customer can access for real-time live data analysis. So with the sensor as it comes a standard, you would have the built-in kind of capabilities in the hardware to measure electricity, vibration, humidity and temperature. But there are also several additional expansion ports which allow for the plug-in of other sensors to measure things like gas, water, air quality, light and sound levels as well. It's a very easy plug and play installation process and setup process. So it's as soon as the module itself is fitted to the particular equipment or machine that you're wanting to measure, you connect it to the local Wi-Fi network, initialize the user interface dashboard that's provided, and you're ready to start monitoring your live data and your feedback and start kind of reporting that and making various improvements then on the back of that. So like I touched on, very simple, easy plug and play installation. It'll improve production quality, it's OEE, the process monitoring, sustainability, like I said, all obviously the goals that you're trying to achieve that they'll help improve on, but ultimately it's to increase efficiency and reduce costs. So our particular offering in partnership with SMDH is 50 companies with up to 5 MultiSense sensors free for the first year. Along with that, obviously, the user will get access to the interface dashboard for free for the first year, which would obviously be used then to cover any number of sensors. So the kit itself would be tailored. Typically, you would have a call with an engineer or potentially maybe a site evaluation where they would go out and you would obviously explain to the engineers kind of what you're looking to measure, what your end goals are, and then we would tailor a package then to suit that we would supply with possibly maybe additional sensors or something like that as a complete kind of kit. And obviously along with that, like anything else, you'll get your fitting instructions, all your customer training and support and backup on both the hardware and the software side of the solution. So a complete customer support framework with that. Who can apply is probably most people have already kind of seen. There is a criteria obviously of businesses that are open to be able to apply for this, which you can see on the screen there. I'll not go over it again. It's probably fairly well known. And that's really it. Any company that wants to get involved in this and avail of it, it is a great opportunity to advance your business. You can scan the QR code to take you directly to our website, or you can just visit our website, or alternatively, feel free to give us a call and we'll be more than happy to discuss a solution for you.
Brilliant, thank you, Mark. Okay, do we have any questions from anybody? That's all of the presentations finished. Stick your questions in the chat if you have anything. Mark, I was going to ask, is it possible to, like, you know, when you're getting a dashboard coming from the sensors, is it possible to maybe link in other parts of the factory? I don't know whether it's coming from other software or production systems, and also have that feeding into the dashboard, or would they be separate dashboards?
That'll be something for an engineer, really, I think, to be honest with you. I know that the guys are still kind of working in the background on the software side of things and on that dashboard, with Justin there and things. So I think there's still a bit to be done on that, and I'm not sure how much I can really say on it at the minute. But obviously, it's like, you know what it is, like anything, you will be provided with a very easy to use dashboard as part of it. But again, look, any questions at all, no matter how technical, it would have to go to an engineer, obviously, to answer that.
Okay. Mike, I was going to ask, is it possible to sort of monitor older machines within the factory? Is there any issues or requirements of accessing data from older machines?
No, not at all. We actually just did a webinar on that, I think maybe 7 or 8 days ago. So no, we've got, doesn't really matter age or brand. What we're looking for is an indication of the machine being utilized. So in some examples, with a large Northern Irish manufacturer, we're tapping into the and-on light. So that gives us, you know, most machinery have some sort of and-on light, or a panel where the light is green when the machine is running. So we'll work with the local team to understand what is the best way. You know, we don't need, what we like to do is kind of make the data as presentable as possible in our platform and simplify that. But how the data comes in can be analog, can be digital. For as an example, we have a monitoring of press brakes, and that's done by the foot pedal press. So that single spike of data is pumped into our algorithm and then presented back as utilization. So we've got many different ways of visualizing data from legacy machines.
Okay, brilliant. Stephen, did you have a question?
Thanks, Aodheen, and thanks to colleagues for those presentations. I suppose what dawns on me is that these appear to be very low cost, relatively interventions here that provide an enormous amount of visibility to what's actually happening within factories, within machines, within processes. And I just wanted to, because obviously you're out and about talking with manufacturers all the time, if you kind of give a bit of an indication of some sorts of insights and the savings that are achievable at the back end of that, because there's a capital investment or a service investment here, but what's the results on the other side? And if there's an example or two that you can maybe give us.
Yeah, I suppose all the guys will probably have good examples. Compressed air is one that all companies, you know, we've heard from companies that it's a really big expense, and it's an opportunity for them to make a saving just by having that monitored within the company. There was another one we spoke to last week who they were unaware by just monitoring their electricity. I suppose over the incoming supply, the overall site electricity, not just one machine, they were fit to identify that their water cooler, you know, that for their coffee basically was heating up and cooling down throughout the night. And overall, with their energy savings, I think across the factory, with machines and that, it ran into something like 30,000 of a saving just from energy monitoring from their incoming supply. So yeah, I suppose exactly what you say. Don't underestimate what these sort of light touch solutions can make in terms of savings for a company.
And I suppose then, Aodheen, I mean, that's 30 grand off the bottom line straight away. And in a time where energy costs in particular remain significantly elevated, but every business works hard to try to find margins, fractions of fractions in order to be efficient. And if you're telling me that just by having visibility of their incoming energy supply, they were able to identify 30 grand's worth of savings, and that seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah, definitely. And what I would say is sort of conscious that we're coming into the summer months now, and the people will be taking holidays, and they might be thinking, you know, we'll come to this project, but there are a limited number of opportunities available with these lighthouse providers now. So definitely, if you're interested, sort of put your name in the hat. Either contact the companies directly, or pick it up with myself or Stephen or any of the manufacturing NI team. So we're heading to the Anchor High Summit next Thursday, and SMDH will have a bit of a table and demonstration there as well in Newcastle, in the Sleeved Honoured. So yeah, would welcome a conversation, or if anybody wants, you know, a one-to-one meeting to go through the different support options with SMDH, definitely get in touch, and we can either arrange a call or factory visit as well. And I know Mike is also coming over in June, so we'll be setting up meetings with companies early June. I think it's the second week in June as well. Was there any other questions or anything? I'm conscious that we're at time and people are going to drop off now for their lunch if they haven't already. Okay, well look, we'll have the recording. It'll be available on Manufacturing NI's YouTube. I will send around all the slides from today and just a bit of information about who the contacts are and who the speakers were. So definitely, please get in touch if this is something of interest. There's lots of different aspects there, different solutions, but there are also lots of other business support options and solutions providers that we didn't cover today with SMDH. So if there's something that maybe you didn't see or a different project that you're thinking of, get in touch, because you can apply directly for the Digital Innovation Fund as well. The current call, the deadline is the 27th of May, which I know is quite short notice to get a quote on that from a supplier. It's next Monday. So we can speak to you about applying for that if you need any help with the forms, or there will be another call after that. So there will be another round of funding. So the rapid demonstrator projects are up to 50,000 of a grant, and there's lighthouse projects there up to 315,000, which is really part of a bigger project. It could be a consortium of manufacturing companies, or it could be a sort of looking at your supply chain, or a solution provider like any of these companies here today who'd be dealing with multiple companies. So we're at time. So if there's no other questions, I think we'll let you go. Thank you all very much for your time today. It was really great, and great to see from our presenters the range of different solutions and projects and business support options that are available, and I suppose Industry 4 technologies, exciting things that are coming in the manufacturing sector. So that's everything. Thank you all for your time, and we will close the meeting there.
Thank you, Aodheen.